All right, welcome to your deep dive. This time, we're going to be taking a look at 1984, specifically part one of George Orwell's 1984. I think a lot of people listening are probably familiar with the big terms,
Right.
Big Brother, Thought Police, things like that.
Yeah.
But what we want to do today is kind of go beyond the catchphrases and really see, how does Orwell build this world?
Right.
What is it that makes it feel so dystopian?
And he does it so well. I think that's why it's resonated for, what, 75 years now or something? It's incredible.
Because it's not just telling you about this oppressive atmosphere. It's really making you feel it.
Exactly. It's the details, the vivid, almost visceral details that he uses.
Yeah, and I think that's where we want to start, because you encounter, obviously the telescreens right away, the threat of the thought police, but then there are these like smaller things that I feel like really get under your skin.
Right.
Like, do you remember those posters?
Yeah.
Just that description. I mean, more than a meter wide, Big Brother's face.
Right.
And just the eyes follow you everywhere.
And it says, Big Brother is watching you.
Yeah.
And that,
he can't escape it.
It's inescapable feeling.
right.
And then even just like sensory things, like he talks about Winston's apartment building, and it just smells of boiled cabbage and old rag mats.
Like, even just that.
Just like so bleak and dreary.
And it's interesting because there's this kind of like, it feels futuristic, obviously, but also kind of like, well, that smells kind of familiar.
Yeah, you've smelled that somewhere, like in a
that's not
laundromat or something.
That's not so out there. That's not so crazy.
Right.
So I think it's that blend of
these things that are so far out there, but then also these little details that feel disturbingly familiar.
And, one thing we have to talk about, too, is doublethink.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that, because it's
so important to this world.
Yeah.
It's not just about believing lies.
Yeah.
It's about believing two contradictory things at once.
Yeah. Have you ever, I don't know, in your own life, encountered something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we all.
Yeah, where you're kind of pressured to believe.
Yeah.
Or at least go along with something.
Yeah.
Just isn't quite right.
Where you feel like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But you just have to nod your head and say, okay, yeah, that's right.
And that's such a powerful tool for control.
Oh, absolutely.
Because then what can you even question after that?
Yeah.
Historically, we've seen this so many times.
Yeah.
Totalitarian regimes always rely on controlling information.
Yeah. And it makes you realize that 1984 isn't just this far-fetched thing. It's a reflection of something very real.
We may not have telescreens yet, but all the pieces are kind of there.
Yeah. So let's meet our main character here, Winston Smith.
Okay.
He's not like a big heroic figure. In fact, Orwell describes him as kind of a smallish, frail guy.
Yeah.
But he's got this,
He's got this inner rebellion going on.
Yeah. He's rebelling against this party control. Even little things like just keeping a diary.
Right. That's a crime.
Yeah.
That's a thought crime.
To even think the wrong thing.
Yeah. And it's like, even just thinking the wrong thing.
Yeah, how do you even police that?
Yeah.
How do
you even do that?
It's insidious, right?
Yeah.
And I think...
But I think it's also fascinating to look at, Winston's internal struggles. Because he's got this yearning for connection, for...
intimacy, for love.
Right. But the party has...
But it's all been twisted.
Yeah.
It's all been made...
Yeah.
Sterile and controlled.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
When you think about it, right?
And even it's interesting to see how he's contrasted with...
Yeah, with other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Parsons, for example.
Right. Yeah, his neighbor.
Yeah. The neighbor who just seems so...
Who's just blindly loyal.
Yeah.
Just the party is always right kind of guy.
Yeah. And then even the children.
Oh, yeah, the kids.
Even Parsons' own guys who are like these little... spies.
It is.
It's terrifying.
It really is.
And it just goes to show how...
this influence just kind of seeps into everything.
Yeah, it seeps into families.
Yeah.
It seeps into relationships, into every aspect of life.
Yeah. Speaking of control, I wanted to ask you about memory hole.
Memory hole, yeah.
Because it's not just...
Yeah, it's so much more than just a...
It's not just a trash can.
It's not a trash can.
Right.
What does it represent?
the party history. It's about the party controlling the past, therefore controlling the present.
And that, I mean, that's where doublethink comes back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if they can just rewrite the past
is fluid, then nothing is real.
Then what is even true?
Exactly. What is truth? Right.
And then you have that one moment where Winston sees this photograph that proves the party is lying.
Right. And it's like this moment of, aha, here's the evidence.
Right.
But then it gets swallowed up.
Yeah. Into the memory hole.
Into the memory hole, along with everything else. It's like, is there any hope for...
It's chilling.
Yeah.
It is.
If a society can't even remember its own past, what does that even...
It's a question that resonates, I think, today.
Yeah.
More than ever.
Yeah. I mean, we live in this age of, like, information overload.
Right, exactly. What is real, what is not real.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there's a warning from, 75 years ago.
Yeah.
But it still feels very, very real today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to forget to mention the proles.
Oh, yeah.
These are the people who make up the majority.
They're the majority of the population, but they're kind of ignored.
Yeah. They're just kind of left alone.
They're not considered a threat.
Yeah.
Right.
They live in poverty.
They do.
But they also have...
But they have a lot more freedom than the party members.
Yeah.
And
like, it's
almost like that.
I mean, Winston even calls them natural inferiors.
Yeah.
Which is a disturbing reflection of how the party views them, right? They're just kept distracted with lottery tickets and,
mindless entertainment.
Just to keep them happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep them pacified.
Don't let them think too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yet, Winston has this belief that if there is hope, it lies in the proles.
Right.
It's like, is he just being...
Is that naive?
Yeah.
Or is there actually something to that?
Yeah. Could these people who are outside the system be the key?
Could they overthrow it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Overthrowing it.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's one of the things that makes this book so compelling.
Yeah.
It just leaves you with more questions than answers.
It just leaves you with this feeling of, like, but what if?
Exactly.
Yeah. But even amidst all of this oppression, you have these moments of...
rebellion.
Yeah. Like with Julia.
Right. Winston's relationship with Julia.
Yeah. And it's not just...
There's a physical attraction.
It's more than just physical attraction.
Yeah. It's
like the defiant grasping for something real.
Yeah.
Something authentic.
Yeah. It's like those moments where Orwell describes,
the smell of real coffee.
The smell of real coffee. The feel of sugar.
Yeah, these little luxuries
Yeah.
that become huge.
Yeah.
Because they're forbidden.
Yeah. They become these little acts of resistance.
Right.
Yeah.
And it shows how much totalitarianism impacts you.
Yeah.
Not just how you act, but...
how you think, how you feel.
Yeah. Like they want to control everything.
Every aspect of your being.
Yeah. And yet, these moments are...
Well, they come with a price. Right.
Yeah.
They're living in constant fear of being discovered.
Yeah.
Like they know
it's not going to last.
Yeah.
Right.
And even their love for each other
is
kind of tainted by that paranoia.
Yeah. Because you never know who's listening.
Yeah.
Who's watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then there's this character, O'Brien.
O'Brien.
Who I want to ask you about because he's
a mystery.
Yeah.
Wrapped in an enigma.
Yeah. He's like this high-ranking party member that Winston...
But Winston thinks he might be on his side.
Yeah. Thinks that he's a rebel as well.
Yeah. And Orwell does such a good job building this suspense around O'Brien. Yeah. Because you see him through Winston's eyes.
Right.
So you're kind of...
You're hoping that Winston is right.
Yeah. But there are also these...
But there are these hints.
Hints of something else.
Yeah. Of something darker.
Yeah. Yeah, like something darker.
Yeah.
So then they finally have this meeting.
They meet at O'Brien's apartment.
Yeah.
And he does this thing
Yeah.
that seems impossible for an inner party member.
Yeah.
He turns off the telescreen.
Yeah.
You're like, can he do that?
Yeah.
And then he offers them wine.
Yeah. A forbidden luxury.
Which is, a big no-no.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they toast to Goldstein.
Yeah, the enemy of the state.
Yeah.
It's just so much tension.
Much tension and symbolism, and you're like, what is happening here?
So it's like a world beyond the party's control is suddenly possible.
Yeah.
But is it?
You don't know, right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
And just when you're like on the edge of your seat, O'Brien's like, yeah, I'm a member of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, this legendary resistance group.
This legendary organization. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's all going to happen.
This is it. The revolution's coming.
Yeah.
But then there's a catch.
Yeah. He doesn't promise.
Right. He doesn't say any sort of glorious
we're going to overthrow Big Brother.
Yeah.
Right? He just says, it's a life in the shadows. You have to obey blindly. You know, you're going to get caught eventually.
Yeah.
And it's like,
bleak. What?
Yeah. Even the rebellion is bleak.
Even the rebellion is depressing.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, wow, there's no happy ending here.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
Right. And so it makes you wonder, what would I do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Would you?
If I were in Winston's shoes, what would I be willing to sacrifice?
What would you be willing to sacrifice?
For your beliefs.
Yeah. Would you be able to live that kind of life?
Knowing that there's no guarantee of victory.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Welcome back to our deep dive into 1984.
Yeah.
Last time we left off with Winston and Julia, you know, seemingly joining this...
this brotherhood.
Yeah, this brotherhood, this secret organization to rebel against the party.
Right.
But in part 2, things get...
they take a dark turn.
Yeah.
I mean, Orwell doesn't pull any punches here.
No.
Showing the brutality of this regime.
I mean, Winston's capture and then, like, his torture.
What's the Ministry of Love?
At the Ministry of Love.
It's hard to read.
It's rough. And it's not just...
It's not even just the physical torture.
Right.
It's in the psychological manipulation.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like they don't just want to...
They don't just want to punish him.
Right.
They want to break him.
Yeah. They want to, like, reshape his mind into something that aligns with theirs.
Yeah, they want him to love Big Brother.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, and so that's where I think...
Where Room 101 comes in.
Oh, Room 101. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because it's this place that's just...
It's shrouded in this mystery and dread.
Yeah. And, like, what's so terrifying about it?
It's the ultimate form of psychological control because they use your deepest fear against you, whatever that fear is.
And they tailor it.
Yeah.
They tailor it to you.
Every single person has a different Room 101.
Yeah. And I think for Winston, it's...
rats. He's terrified of rats.
Yeah.
And the way Orwell describes that cage...
Designed to hold the rats.
It's just, it's so visceral and so real.
I can't even imagine.
You can just feel the horror.
And you know what's interesting about that scene is it's not just about, like, the physical torture. It's about...
It's the culmination of all the psychological torture he's endured.
Yeah. They've stripped him of everything.
His memories.
Yeah.
His beliefs, his sense of self.
Yeah.
He's broken.
And he's so broken that he betrays Julia.
He betrays Julia, the one person he loves.
Yeah.
Just to escape this terror.
And
it's heartbreaking. Right. Because it shows how the party can manipulate you into betraying your own values.
Yeah. It's just like, what would I do in that situation?
It makes you question your own strength.
What
Could I withstand that?
Withstand that. Yeah.
That kind of pressure.
Yeah. And then what's even...
And the truly disturbing thing is they don't just want obedience.
Right.
They want you to love Big Brother.
Yeah. It's like they want...
Control your thoughts, your emotions.
Yeah. Like, how is that even possible?
I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah.
To create a society where dissent is inconceivable.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't even think about rebelling.
Yeah.
You just love Big Brother.
Yeah. And that's...
And we see it happen to Winston.
He's released back into society. This, like...
A shell of his former self.
Yeah. Shell of a man.
Yeah.
And he encounters Julia again.
And there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no spark.
There's no
recognition.
Yeah. Like the party has erased.
They've erased their love.
Their connection.
Their shared rebellion.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's a
stark illustration of the party's power.
Yeah.
That they can literally rewrite someone's past.
Yeah. Rewrite their memories. Their
identity.
Yeah. And then the ultimate gut punch, I think, is when he's watching the news and there's this report.
About victory.
Yeah. For Oceania.
And he feels this surge of like patriotic pride.
Yeah, he loves Big Brother. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like he's
been completely reintegrated into the system.
He's been fully absorbed back in. Yeah. And it's just so...
It's so chilling.
Yeah.
It's like he's been completely defeated.
And that ending is so debated.
Yeah, what do you...
People argue about it all the time.
Yeah, what do you make of it?
Some see it as a tragic defeat,
Right.
a testament to the party's power.
Right.
But others see it as a glimmer of hope.
Hope? How can you see hope in that? He's been completely broken.
But by showing his complete defeat...
Orwell forces us to confront this question.
Yeah.
If even the most rebellious spirit can be crushed,
yeah,
what hope is there for the rest of us?
Yeah.
You know? So it becomes this call to action almost,
yeah.
right? That we have to be vigilant.
Yeah.
We have to fight for our freedoms.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
We can't let this happen.
Yeah.
That's how I see it anyway.
That's powerful, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you see the ending.
Right.
Not as like a...
Not as a resignation, but as a...
Yeah, as like a warning.
Yeah.
But what about newspeak?
Newspeak, yeah.
Yes.
Because it's not just like...
It's not just a simplified language. It's a tool to control thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Like literally limit the vocabulary, eliminate the nuance.
Yes. Make it almost like automatic.
Yeah.
You don't even have to think about what you're saying.
And Orwell really understood that language shapes thought.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. By controlling language, it could control how people think.
Absolutely. Like, if you don't have the words to express an idea, can you even think the idea?
Yeah.
Right?
Like free.
Yeah, like free.
In newspeak, it only exists in very limited context.
Like free from lice or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But like the
idea of like political freedom
is gone.
Is literally unspeakable.
Yeah.
And therefore unthinkable.
It's terrifying.
It's terrible.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
Like imagine a world where you can't even think certain thoughts.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the words.
Because the words don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
And I think it's a warning.
It is. It's a warning we should all heed.
Yeah.
You know, especially today.
Yeah. Especially today where it feels like language is...
I mean, language is constantly being, you know, manipulated and twisted.
Yeah, for different agendas.
For political agendas, for social agendas.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
So, I mean, it's like...
So 1984 is this chilling reminder of what can happen when we're not paying attention.
So we've seen Winston's rebellion crushed.
Right.
His spirit broken.
His love for Julia extinguished.
Yeah. And we've seen these terrifying implications.
The implications of newspeak. You know, this language designed to eliminate dissent.
It's a bleak picture.
It is.
But I think it's a picture that also...
It compels us to ask.
It compels us to ask.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, what are we doing?
In our own lives.
Yeah.
To resist these forces.
Yeah.
That's the power. Yeah.
Of this book.
It's not just telling a story.
Right. It's not just a story.
Yeah.
It's this
like
a challenge to look at the world around us and ourselves and say, are we doing enough? Are we fighting for what we believe in?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's, that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive into 1984.
Okay.
But stick around for part 3.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna
go even deeper.
Delve even deeper into the broader themes of the novel and how its warnings
and how they're still relevant today.
Continue to resonate in the 21st century. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into 1984. We've gone through this oppressive world, seen Winston's rebellion, his capture, his ultimate transformation. But now I kind of want to like zoom out a little bit and think about like the bigger picture. What are some of the big themes in this book and what makes it so relevant, even today?
I mean, one of the things that strikes me is just how fragile truth is in this world.
Yeah, because it's like if the party controls all the information, if they can rewrite history.
And they do constantly.
Then what is even true?
What does truth even mean?
Yeah.
In that kind of world.
Yeah, and it's like, it makes me think of that scene where Winston finds that photograph.
Oh, yeah.
That proves the party's lying.
Right. He's got the evidence.
He's got the proof.
Right. In his hands.
Yeah. But it doesn't
matter.
It does matter.
Because they control the narrative.
Yeah.
They can just say,
they can just...
That's fake.
Yeah.
That's made up.
And that's what's scary because we're seeing...
And that's the scary thing.
Yeah.
Is that that's happening in our world too.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like fake news, propaganda, people distorting facts
the kind
to fit their own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
it makes you question, like, what can you even believe?
Can you trust?
Yeah.
Right.
Who do you trust?
Yeah. So it's like Orwell is giving us this challenge to...
I think so.
Yeah.
He's saying, be critical thinkers.
Yeah.
Don't just believe everything you hear. Question authority. You know, be skeptical.
Yeah. And it's not even just about the facts. It's like the language.
And that's when Newspeak comes back in.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on that again.
Yeah.
Because
it's so important to understand.
It's such a powerful concept.
This idea of controlling language.
Yeah. You know, limiting the vocabulary.
Right.
Getting rid of nuance.
Simplifying everything.
Yeah. Like boiling things down to their
simplest,
most basic forms.
Yeah. And so you think about like love, freedom,
right?
These complex emotions.
These big ideas.
We're reduced to these.
They're just very
crude, narrow definitions.
Yeah. And it's terrifying.
Yeah. Because it's like, if you can't express an idea,
right?
Can you even think it?
Can't you think it?
Yeah. Does thought even exist without language?
That's a big question that philosophers have been debating for centuries.
Yeah.
And I think Orwell brings it to life in 1984.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He shows us how language is not just about communication.
Yeah.
It's about shaping our understanding of the world.
It's like the foundation of how we see the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, what can we even do?
Be aware of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, be aware.
Recognize how language is being used to manipulate you.
Yeah.
To control you.
To control how you think.
Right. To shape your beliefs.
Yeah.
To, you know, make you buy things. To make you vote a certain way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's happening all the time.
It's happening all around us.
Yeah. So I think...
And defend the right to free thought and expression.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, that's crucial.
That's crucial.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people, when they think of 1984, they think, oh, it's this warning about totalitarianism.
Right.
But it's also like this celebration.
It's also a celebration of the human spirit.
Yeah.
Of the human spirit.
Yeah.
Even in the face of this overwhelming oppression.
Yeah. Like Winston and Julia.
Winston and Julia.
Yeah.
Find a way to resist.
Yeah.
To connect.
Yeah.
To find a little bit of...
Yeah, to find those moments of hope.
Hope and joy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe their rebellion is ultimately crushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Those little acts of defiance. Yeah. Those moments of love.
Yeah.
You know, they remind us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure.
Yeah. And I think it's that makes this book so...
Yeah.
Powerful.
That little glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
Right? It's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It's saying that even in the worst possible scenario, there's still a part of us that can resist.
Yeah.
That can fight back.
Yeah. And I think that's a message we need.
We need to hear that.
Yeah.
So we should today.
Yeah. All right. So that brings our deep dive into 1984 to a close.
Okay.
We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little unsettling.
Well, scary.
But most importantly, we hope it inspires you to
engage.
Yeah, engage with the world around you.
With the world around you.
Question what you see.
And hear and never take
our freedoms for granted.
For granted.
All right. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those critical thinking skills sharp.